Was Auburn just a few field goals away from the promised land last year? Hugh Freeze thinks so. So do they have it fixed? Welcome on into the Auburn Express, powered by the War 4. I'm your host, Mike Z, and thank you so much for making us your first listen of every single day. Joining me, as he does every single Thursday, is my good friend Jacob Goins. It's time to get going. Let's get to going. On a Thursday, today's show, we're going to be talking about special teams and the importance of one Alex McPherson returning to the roster. How many games will Auburn be good for because Alex McPherson is back? That's next up on the show. Jacob, before we start, talk to me about special teams in general. They made a change, or change was exacted. Tanner Burns is no longer the special teams coach. He's been replaced. Talk to me a little bit about what Auburn has going on at special teams this offseason.
Well, you look back at what Auburn was doing, or maybe what they weren't doing over the last year or 2 years, or maybe even into the previous era as well. And other than field goal kicking, which I know wasn't great last year, we're going to talk about that. But I'm talking special teams as a whole. Field goal kicking, kickoffs, punts, punt returns, punt coverage, kickoff coverage, everything that is special teams, it's been bad, Mike. I mean, it has not been good. And for an Auburn team and an Auburn program that's trying to rebuild, trying to figure itself out, trying to just flat out win some games, that's the one area in all the different facets that it brings that you can't afford to not be good at. You can't keep continuing to allow teams to get good kickoff returns out to the 35 or the 40-yard line, or receive a punt at the 35 and bring it into your side of the field. Auburn did that several times last year, and it goes unnoticed, I guess, within the game, or once another play happens, you kind of forget about it and it's like, okay, well, the defense has got to play whatever. But those add up, Mike. It's called the field position battle, right? Even if you get the stop, then you're further behind and then they start ahead. It's the field position battle that Auburn continued to lose last year and the year before. And so those were major issues. And then obviously the field goal kicking situation with McPherson dealing with the health issues, and glad to hear and see that he was battling through that, which became very, very serious, I was told, about, how close he came and just how bad it got, right? And so a miracle for him to even be able to live his day-to-day life, but now being back on the field and hopefully going to be kicking for Auburn. And look, that put Towns Magoo in a tough spot a year ago. I love Towns. The kid was one of the best high school kickers in the state of Alabama. He played right here at Auburn High School. He was a really, really good kicker. Just got put in some tough situations a year ago. And he missed some that he should have made, and he missed some that he normally would make. But let's not kid ourselves that there were some situations, Mike. He stepped in there, and it was like, man, what do you expect? The kid's not going to make this. This is a tough situation. Game's on the line, 50-plus yarders. It's just not been good. And a team like Auburn can't afford to have bad special teams for another season here in 2025, Mike.
A kicker is always one of those positions where when you need him, you really, really need him. And when he's not doing his job or things aren't going well, certainly it is felt, especially on a team like Auburn had last year, where the margin of error just wasn't great enough for them to have kicking woes. But I had a chance to sit down with Auburn's head football coach to talk a little bit about kicking woes and things that ailed Auburn last year. I want to play a clip, Jacob, before we continue our conversation. This is Hugh Freeze on Auburn, on things Auburn needs to improve that included kicking.
If we were better in red zone scoring, turnovers, and critical downs on defense, and special teams, and particularly field goal unit, I think we win 4 more games.
Yeah.
And you're looking at a 9-win season.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm not making light of any other teams, but I'm just saying to you, when you watch those games, if you don't turn it over and you make these field goals at these points, there's 2 of them that put us up 10 points in SEC games, and then you get to kick the ball off and they have to go 75 yards to score.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen a whole lot in our league. And if it does, it takes some time typically. And in both those cases, we miss. They get the ball at the 30, 35. We stop them, but they're at the 50. They pin us inside the 2.
I'm going to stop the clip there. Hugh Freeze saying, hey, if we're better on critical downs and special teams, particularly field goal kicking, maybe we win 4 games, but maybe 2 of those definitely you could pin on kicking. Is Auburn a field goal kicker away from a bowl game? Or, I mean, they were a field goal kicker away from 9 wins. Certainly there was more to it than that. But I think maybe 2 of those games you can definitely look back at field goal kicking and say, hey, momentum is different. Auburn's in a different situation if we could just make some kicks.
Well, and I liked how he brought up the field position battle too. And I think that is, again, so important on what Auburn could or couldn't do in kick return, punt return, and losing that battle in over 4 quarters of a game. If you lose that particular battle, you're probably going to lose the game. And then you add on the kicking woes that he mentioned as well. I mean, was Auburn a kicker away from 9 wins? No, but they were a kicker away from, a bowl game, 6-7 wins, which wouldn't have been great, but it would have been better. And it would make this fan base, and probably Hugh Freeze too, feel a whole lot better about what 2025 has in store than what we're sitting on right now, which is, can he do it? Can he get it done? Can this team win games? Is Hugh Freeze the right choice? Is this going to work because you went 5-7 a year ago? I mean, you had a chance to beat Oklahoma or Vanderbilt or all these teams that you lost to that were close games. And I mean, it's hard to go back and say, well, if you make this particular field goal or make that particular tackle, they go on and win the game. It's impossible for us to say that legitimately, but you have a good feeling that if you were a little bit better at kicking field goals, a little bit better at kick and punt return coverage, and kick and punt returns yourself, you feel like some of those games that you let slip away down the stretch, you would have a better chance at winning those, and we'd feel a whole lot better about what this year has in store.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Auburn needs to get some things fixed in terms of putting points on the board in 2025. Every segment we've done probably this summer, we've talked a little bit about how Auburn, if they could have just managed 28 points per game in Power 4 play last year, they may win every game they lost. Yep. So Hugh Freeze, it's not hyperbole for him to say, if we had those things together, we're potentially a 9-win team. I don't think it's a crazy statement. I don't think he's out of pocket for that. But look, Alex McPherson is the guy. You touched a little bit on what he had going on. All reports are he's back. I want to talk about the season that he hopes to have right after a quick word from our sponsors. This episode of the Auburn Express is brought to you by our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. That's right across the street from the Chattahoochee Valley Community College, next to Renfro's Supermarket and Marco's Pizza. The Vibe Vault. If you're in the Columbus, Phoenix City area and you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, get fresh for the weekend with the Vibe Vault. Not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. This episode of the Auburn Express is brought to you by our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com and use code REPORTER to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. Our guy Richard is a longtime sponsor of the show. We appreciate him for sponsoring this segment. Also, our friends at Golden's Cast Iron. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights and code TWR for $65 off fire pits and Kamado grills. The summer's here. You want to be outside grilling with your family or just staying in shape with some weights. Work out, grill out, chill out with Golden's Cast Iron. Let's jump back into our conversation here, Jacob. Alex McPherson is back. Auburn is happy that he's back. No disrespect to Towns. He stepped in admirably at times. However, there was a big hole in the kicking game, and it is filled with one Alex McPherson. Now, I owe this young man an apology. Coming in, I thought he was a little overrated.
Oh no.
I was
Okay.
wrong. I was wrong. He is not overrated. And boy, did Auburn miss his presence there. I do want to take just a tiny bit of time to honor the health struggles that he went through.
Absolutely.
And what it takes to push through that. Obviously, I think he's got some very good doctors. But there was a time where things weren't looking so great for him. And his family never really let on. We heard a lot of rumors about what exactly was going on with him. But he pushed through, and now he's in a place where he can play football again. And, before we move on, I just your thoughts on the state of his health and the fact that he was able to make it back to football.
I mean, I said it. It's a miracle that I think he's able to live his day-to-day life normally. I mean, as far as we know, right? I mean, if he's playing football, all signs and reports were that McPherson was cleared and healthy and good to go. And I really do think it is a miracle that he is, again, able to do whatever he wants to do in his day-to-day life, and then still have the motivation and the hunger and the wants to go and play football. And whether that's for him, whether that's for Auburn, whether that's for his family, of course, his older brother is the kicker, Evan McPherson for the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, whether he wanted, whatever his reasoning was, Mike, he still wanted to play football, and he got the clearance to do so. And I mean, it's incredible to see. And hopefully fans keep that in mind when they see him this season, and hopefully appreciate whatever he is able to do at whatever capacity that is, right? I mean, whether that's him doing kickoffs and field goals, whether that's just field goals, whether it's anything within 40 yards and then Towns comes in to kick the longer ones. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But I think fans need to understand and appreciate the fact that Alex McPherson is going to be kicking and playing college football for a young man that was, I think, fighting for his life at one point. So absolutely, man, it really is a miracle to see him back on the field this fall.
Yeah, the reports were he dropped from 162 pounds to 110 pounds at one point, which is devastating for a young man. Where your health is supposed to be something that you have at that age. I've had my own health struggles. Health is wealth in my book. So, we'll continue to pray for Alex. But now that he's back, how much of a relief is it if you're Hugh Freeze that you have Alex McPherson back there kicking field goals? He was amongst one of the most reliable kickers in the country coming into last season, although he did not kick or wasn't able to go. And now that you have that part of your special team sewed up, it definitely has an effect on how you call games when you have a kicker who can make kicks, right? Yeah. If he's not out there, you're going for it on probably crazy fourth downs. You're doing wild stuff when you don't have a kicker.
Yeah, and I think I'll speak for most Auburn fans when I say we hope we don't have to see McPherson too often, right? The only time we want to see him is on PATs, baby. That's all we want to see. We just want him to be out there for the chip shots and Auburn to be scoring a lot more touchdowns than they do field goals, which you feel like wasn't the case a year ago. But he's still going to be in situations where we need him to make some kicks. Mike, it could be as early as the Baylor game in week 1 in Waco. I mean, you could need a game-winning field goal on the road on a Friday night to beat the Baylor Bears. When anybody complain about that, when any Auburn fan complain about a walk-off field goal made by McPherson for Auburn to start the season 1-0 before they come home, I wouldn't, and it very well could come down to that in a game against Baylor or Oklahoma or Texas A&M on the road, or maybe even Georgia under the lights at Jordan-Hare Stadium, first time since 2012. I mean, there are going to be some opportunities for McPherson to help Auburn win a football game, whether it's in walk-off fashion or not. He's going to have to make some big-time kicks. The hope, though, is that you don't have to put him in those dire situations where, all right, it's the fourth quarter, there's 2.5 minutes, and if Auburn doesn't make this kick, Texas A&M is going to get the football back. They're going to run out the clock because we don't have any timeouts, and we're going to lose 27-24. You know what I mean? Like, you hope you don't have to put him in those situations very often. But as you mentioned, Hugh Freeze and this staff should have the confidence that if they do have to put him out there, or if they do have to turn to him, you feel pretty good as long as he's 100% and ready to go and gets off to a nice start. You feel comfortable knowing you have him in your back pocket if you need to kick a 45, 50 yarder in a bad situation, or if a series goes bad, you pick up a first down or two, you get across midfield and then it stalls. Okay, well, you have McPherson on the sidelines ready to go. And so it should make things a whole lot more comfortable. You should know that he's over there. I just hope you don't have to use him until you absolutely have to, Mike, because that would mean the offense is as good as we think it can be with Jackson Arnold and the receivers and the running game. If they're scoring touchdowns, McPherson should have a pretty solid year, and hopefully he just makes all of his PATs.
Yeah, for the kickers, the combination of him and Hudson Cox should be fairly formidable. But what are the chances that we see Auburn take kickoff duties away and maybe see if they can get that on somebody else to help, manage his load going into the season? Are we going to see some load management? Maybe you think. I think maybe. I don't think he was the best at kickoffs. So yeah.
I think it could happen. I was kind of alluding to that earlier. It very well could, to where, kickoff duties, or still early on, the super long kicks, anything, I don't know, over 50 yards or something like that. I'm curious to start talking with Hugh Freeze once fall practice begins and kind of get an update on the special teams and kind of see where McPherson is. And look, hopefully Towns Magoo has kind of worked through what he went through a year ago and is confident in his abilities when his name is called, or if it's called, that he's ready to go and step up and be the man if necessary. So I definitely think early on you could see some load management type of things from McPherson, but I would expect that if he's healthy, by the end of the season, everything will be in his hands, and I think that's a good spot to be if you're Hugh Freeze in the squad.
Yeah, look, Auburn looks to pull a bunch of things together this season, Jacob.
Yes.
The kicking game being amongst one of their priorities. So with Alex McPherson back, looks like they've got some things figured out. Certainly will continue to follow that as the season progresses. Jacob, I want to thank you for joining me as always. Before we get out of here, tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can tune in 2 to 4 Monday through Friday on ESPN 106.7 if you're in the Auburn Opelika area, or if you are outside of that coverage area, if you're across the state, across the country, ESPNAU.com. We're live every single day, 2 to 4 p.m., ESPN 106.7, ESPNAU.com. So be sure to check it out.
If you're in the comment section after the video, do us a favor, show some love. Smash that super thanks button to help keep the work that we're doing at the War Report going. Also, hit like and subscribe. We are the War Report on every social media platform. TW Report on TikTok. We're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.